Anyway, the issues surrounding adoption and the search for birth parents can be quite complex. But what happens if you do find a parent or both your parents and they don't want to know you?
This was the experience of our next guest, which led to her to write a novel based on the search for her birth mother. We're joined now by author Fiona Cassidy. Fiona, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Danny.
Now, we were talking around about your name. It started off as Fionnuala.
That's right.
But it's Fiona now, and we're taking it as Fiona.
Yes,
Lovely
please do.
stuff. So you were adopted when you were 4 months
That's
old.
right, yes. That's right. I was 15 weeks old whenever I went to Mummy and Daddy and went to Galway.
There they are, delighted with you. It's a lovely photograph.
Thank you. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I couldn't have asked for better parents if I'd tried.
But like anyone growing up, you got to the age where you decided that you'd like to know who your birth mother, and I assume your father as well, were. So where did the search take you? What age were you when you started all that?
I suppose I always had questions. As a young child, you don't really have the capacity to, question too much. But whenever you become a teenager and experience the issues that every teenager has with regards to your identity, I suppose it's only then that you start to question exactly who you are. And whenever you're adopted, those questions are more pressing than they would be normally.
Did you know when you were growing up that you were adopted?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up with the word. Mummy and Daddy were always very, very honest about it. Which I'm very fortunate,
So they didn't sit down with you when you were 9 or 10 and say,
no.
You knew all along?
No, I knew all along, and the way it was always put to me was that I was special, my birth mummy couldn't look after me, and that they had been chosen to look after me, which was a nice way of putting it.
And as a child, then, did you kind of think into that or overthink it or just accept it? Okay, my birth mummy couldn't mind me, and these are my parents
I think
now.
as a child you just accept it. It was part of who I was. It was like my eyes are blue and my hair's whatever colour. Don't know what colour it is anymore. But it was part of who I was. But as I say, whenever you get into the teenage years, it's only then that you really start to question. And I suppose it was around the age of maybe 15 or 16 that I really did start to ask questions.
And then once you started searching properly, it didn't really take you that long to get somewhere.
It didn't.
What happened?
I went and I got my birth certificate, and that gave me information regarding my birth mother. It gave me her name and her address. But I also had a baptismal certificate which had the name of one of my aunts on it. So I knew it would be wrong to turn up on my mother's doorstep, so I went in search of my aunt instead. And I think it was at that stage that the fairy tale sort of ended.
So at that point, were you excited, nervous?
I think a wee bit of both. I don't know what I was expecting. I think, I probably had a romantic image conjured in my head at that stage of some sort of a tearful reunion, Oprah Winfrey and Ricky Lake's couch type of thing. But, unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. And I was told that the circumstances that were there when I was initially put up for adoption were still there, and that it would be better for everybody if I just went back to my life.
So your aunt cold-shouldered you, is that fair?
Absolutely. Which, looking back on it now, I was a very vulnerable 18-year-old at that stage, and it wasn't a nice way to handle it. I think it could have been handled a bit more sensitively.
Were you getting any advice from anybody, any of your friends or counsellors or anything before you actually went on this search?
Unfortunately not, and that's something that I would be a big advocate of now. If anybody else is going to go on a search, I would definitely say they need to be prepared. They need to have counselling or something beforehand, because if things don't work out, it's absolutely devastating.
Do you know, when I was looking at your story today and I was thinking about it, as an 18-year-old, if you have the name of your mother, the address, and you know who she is, it must have been incredibly difficult to hold back from going directly to her.
It was, but at the same time I knew I couldn't do that because I didn't know anything about her at that stage. I didn't know if she, had gone on ahead to have more children or if she was married or anything else. So I knew it would have been wrong, which is why I approached my aunt. But as I say, unfortunately, things...
And how did you feel when your aunt said, look, sorry, it's just not happening, it's a non-runner?
I was devastated, absolutely devastated, because you build yourself up to think that... It wasn't the case that I had ever wanted to replace the family I had. Like, the family I have are absolutely brilliant, and I'm so proud to be part of the Cassidy family. But it's just that, there's this question of who you are, and, it's wee things that other people take for granted. Yeah. It's like looking like somebody, or, knowing where you get your traits and your mannerisms from. It's wee things like that that I wanted to fill in parts of the jigsaw.
And Fiona, say, people who are watching the show today who might be in similar waters, what advice would you have for them?
Well, as I say, I think I would always go into anything like that with a very open mind. you know, you do have to be very mindful of the fact that the reasons why you were given up for adoption might still be there. It mightn't be the case that this is a young 16-year-old who just, you know, has given a child up because they can't look after it. There could be other more extenuating circumstances, and I think you always have to be prepared that it might not work out.
Well, Fiona, your book is out now. I think we have a lovely picture, actually, of you and your parents at the book launch. There you go. Anyone for me. They look proud as punch.
That's when you were blonde.
It was, yeah.
And your baby's due in March.
That's right.
Next baby due in March.
Yes.
The book is a work of fiction, but it is about somebody who is in a similar situation.
It is a work of fiction, yeah. It's, you know, very mildly, I suppose, based on my own circumstances. But, you know, it was something I always wanted to do. I've always loved books. I've always wanted to write a book. So I think it was inevitable that, given my experience, I would probably use this as fodder to write a book with. But, you know, it's quite humorous. It's not a sad story. I don't want people thinking this is real doom and gloom, because it's not.
It's doing very well.
Yeah.
It's selling very well, so congratulations to you.
Congratulations on the baby. Best of luck with that.
Thank
and
you
of
very
course,
much.
congratulations on the book. And of course, Fiona's book is available in good bookstores throughout the country.
If you are someone that you know has been affected by any of the issues raised here, what you can do is log on to our website, rte.ie/TV/The Daily Show, or you can find some information on our Airtel page 341. More information available for you there.
Thanks for coming in, Fiona.